Things you do now in your late teens and early 20s have like 1,000 times more value than any of the stuff that you'll do in the future. Because what, you're gonna try to flip your life around at 60? We, ambitious young men, we need to be more strict with ourselves, right? We need to try to spend every single moment right. I do not say that we need to spend every single second being productive, but just try to live it in the right way. If you really want to be successful, we can't just spend 15 minutes on the toilet scrolling. You know, people say that it's okay to take some time off. It's okay to, be lazy from time to time. No, why can't you live your life to the fullest? And again, I'm not saying that you need to try to spend every single second being productive, because then what you find yourself doing is you're just overproductive and you're, trying to reply to messages or emails whilst on a commute, and you automatically go on TikTok or Instagram and you just start scrolling. So trying to live every single second being productive, bad thing, right? We need to try to live every single moment the right way. What we do every day matters. Like every single moment matters, And frankly, it's all about these little micro decisions. For example, on a commute, you can do either a good thing or a bad thing, because you can take a nap, you can read a book, you can like learn for the studies, you can just sit and do nothing, or you can take out your phone, you can start scrolling, replying to messages, doing some pointless task, and you're just overproductive, right? And like also with scrolling, everyone scrolls nowadays. People, adults, teens, even like grandpas, But for us, ambitious young men, it's especially devastating because again, things you do now have 1,000 times more value compared to stuff you do in the future. Of course, doesn't mean that you should not try to do good things in the future, but you need to realize that like one workout now is probably way more important than one workout if you try to start going to the gym in like 20 years time, when your back hurts and everything feels like shit because you've been doing nothing. Or like just 30 minutes of reading a book, for example, David Goggins' book, instead of scrolling, if you read few pages per day, it has this compound effect, right? Because if you, instead of reading a book or doing any of the good things, if every time you choose to scroll, you choose to, watch random pointless YouTube videos, do any of the bullshit, you not only waste your time by doing this activity, but you also kind of implant this negative belief about yourself in your mind. You don't even probably realize it. But for example, why can't you just go to the toilet and take a shit or take a piss in 5 minutes, finished? I know that sometimes sometimes it's a big one and you need some more time, but why can't you do it like that? Let's say that normally you spend 15 minutes on the toilet because you take your phone. You either spend 15 minutes on the toilet or you spend 5 minutes, just do what you need to do, and then you have 10 minutes of extra time you can spend productively or in the right way. And like with all of those micro things, with all of those micro interactions, you can waste so much potential, right? Especially again if you're in your late teens and early 20s. Your potential is like on a sky level, like sky high. I don't know how to say it, but those negative habits right now have far more negative effects on your life than if you do them in the future. Because like for example, maybe when going out, if you go for a night out, yeah, it will be easier for you to kind of regenerate right now once you're young, instead of when you're in like 40s, 50s. But once you're older, one day doesn't really change that much, right? But now if you go on a night out, you drink lots of alcohol, you wake up the next day feeling like shit, you don't really want to go to the gym because your head hurts as fuck, and suddenly you get like 2-3 bad days in a row, or you lose a streak in your good habits because of it, and then it all just flips around. So like yeah, it is kind of easier to make your body go back into this healthy normal state now that you are young. But one night out now has far more negative effects compared to if you do it in 20 years time. And Of course, I also do party from time to time, like, I don't know, once every 2 or 3 months when I organize something or my friends organize something. Yeah, I will go out and I will drink some alcohol, but I just want you to realize that, doing these negative things right now once you're young, it doesn't really feel like it has that many negative effects, right? Because you see those videos of people that are in like 30s and 40s and they say that, no, I wish that I spent my teenage years and my 20s differently, and because now like their body hurts and everything. So I don't want you to be like one of those people. Like, I don't want you to be the guy recording the video in 10 years time saying like 5 best tips of the things you should avoid in your 20s or something. So I just want you to stay sane, right? I want you to stay away from the bad habits, try to live your life the right way, and also like realize there is some woman just shouting right there. I don't know if you can hear that. I also want you to realize that the good habits you do now have so much more benefits compared to the stuff you'll do in the future. Because, for example, one workout now with your friend has like 100 times more value than working out in 20 years time by yourself, right? Even if you like need to pay some extra money because you'll go to some other gym than yours and you need to pay the fee for going in. Okay, it will cost you extra money, but you get experience that it's just fun, boy like experience for you. It's kind of an adventure working out with your friend. You can push each other to go hard. Maybe sometimes he will be like, man, I don't want to work out today, and you just need to be disciplined for yourself and then motivate him. So again, I mean, just keep doing the good things, because those good habits right now have so much more value than like once you get older. And of course, if you're older, you still want to be doing those things, right? But it's much better to start young, kind of get this belief implanted in your brain, because you don't want to be the guy who wakes up one day once he's like 40 or 50 and he's like, no man, I wish I lived my life so differently. I would change so many things right now if I could go back in time. I saw a video a few days ago, and this was a guy saying, imagine your life 10 years into the future. You probably have a wife, you have a house, children, everything. And now imagine you're 10 years into the future, and now imagine that you look back 10 years back in time. What would you change, right? And you're probably like, I wish I would work out more, I wish I was consistent in the gym, I wish I would like eat healthier, get better sleep to feel better day to day. And suddenly click, just like this. You were 10 years into the future, now you're back in time, you need to be doing the good things you you knew your future self would want you to be doing. So you might want to do that as an extra activity, but just try to stay extra focused throughout the day. Try to catch out those micro things, those micro interactions, because those are the things that matter. It's not that you spend 10 minutes scrolling, it's that you create the habit of going on social media when you have nothing to do. That's the bad thing, right? Because 10 minutes, yeah, okay, it's not that much, but if you do it over and over and over again, just like I said with the compounding effect with the book, it's the same with scrolling, right? If every single spare second you have, you just take out your phone and you start scrolling, then it becomes a habit, and if you do not realize and if you don't realize it right now, it will be much harder in the future. So again, I don't want you to be like one of those guys who is like, watch this video to not waste your 20s, or listen to me who wasted his teenage years, or stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. Keep in mind the potential you have, because it's really huge. The fact that you're watching this video and you're watching it this far, man, you're on a great path. And go go extra hard on yourself, because you can. You're young, you have lots of energy, because even though you get a bad night of sleep because you slept like 5 or 6 hours, you still can kind of turn on this extra energy. Find some reserves in your body, because you're young, so it's so easy. Use it while you can. And I'm not the guy saying this because now I'm old and everything. I'm still 20. But kind of just looking into the future, you might notice that there will be problems like this. So you just better avoid them if you can. So again, try to go extra strict on yourself. Notice yourself, how you behave in those different situations. And man, I just wish you all the best. So thanks for watching. I appreciate that you watched this far. Regain your male drive and go live your life. See you next time.